Hello Flosstube, it is time for another update. Welcome back to my Flosstube channel, and if you are new here, welcome. I am Sen, I am an artist and designer, and this is my little place on the internet for cross-stitch mainly. So today I have a few things that I want to touch on. First off, I will be doing my regular stitching update with what I have been up to in these past I think it has been 2 weeks pretty much. Today is September the 4th. Yeah, September the 4th. So August is over. If I were someone who would make stitchy plans, then this would be the point where I would tell you about my plans for September. But I'm, as if you are a returning viewer already know, I am a wee stitcher, so there aren't plans usually. I sometimes try to make plans for the general year, like if I have some of my bigger full coverages where I'm like, I want to reach a certain percentage until the end of the year, but currently that's just one project. So I will start with showing you my updates. Like in my previous videos, I will try to put in I will put in pictures of where it was during my last update to the side. No, probably this side here. It will not be of every project, since I have had a lot of projects that I have not shown in my past 2 or 3 Flosstube videos, and those were the first times that I started actually taking pictures after filming. So yeah, so I'm a little bit distracted. Yeah, this is one of my boys. You've seen him a few times. This is Seto. He is a very cuddly boy. I don't know if you can even actually hear him purring, and he is very he's very cuddly. He would like to sit on my lap all the time, but he can't when I'm filming, because that would only put more cat hair onto my projects than there already is. I have a second cat. His name's Jack, but he doesn't usually show up. He's not as social. He just mostly he comes overnight and sleeps in my bed and stuff like that. But yeah, that is the first thing that I'm going to do. If I seem a little out of breath today, I have no idea why that is. Maybe because I didn't sleep a lot. But yeah, second, after the updates, I will touch on a subject that is very important to me in regards of my own cross-stitch shop, and the patterns that I am making and that I am no longer making. So if that interests you, I will put it after the regular update. If not, then you're of course free and very welcome to just stay for the stitchy update. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to that. I have all of my projects here to the side. They are not in order of me working, having worked on them. There are 2 that I did not put in there that are here. Okay, now, so let's start with those. I also have a finish. Yeah, I suppose let's start with that. I put it here behind my computer. So I finished this one. It was already almost done the last time you saw it. This is from a magazine, and again, I am so bad at taking notes, and I'm even worse at having the notes like by my side. So I always say in my next video I want to have a page of notes to the side so that I can read off what is what pattern, and then I always forget. So I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, this is a finish. It's just on like a canvas. It's not the most beautiful fully finished thing, but it's one of the few that I have done so far. It's like, so I think it's called lacing to hold it together in the back. It's not beautiful, but nobody sees it. So it's like that, and it is sitting on my wall between my plants. So that's where it's gonna go again. And yeah, I'm just gonna put a picture here that states where it's from and whatnot, because I have that information, so I can put it there. Next thing I worked on is one of my own patterns, which is this one. It's like an, I don't know, potion bottle, or it could even be a terrarium with a plant in it, whatever you want to make of it. This is a little bit older, but I still have not finished it, so I've picked it back up to work on it. And again, let me grab some paper to put behind so that you can see this better. Yeah, that should work, because the light is shining through it. So that is where it is now. The whole top part is finished. I just need to fill in all of these parts, and it's not a big pattern, so it shouldn't take too long. I just need to get back to it. And I've done a few stitches here and there. It's really difficult to say what exactly I have done, like filled in a little bit of the white here, filled in everything, all the white here in this part, and went down a little bit over here with the brown. You can still see the thread hanging here with the light brown. That's just where I stopped the last time I worked on it. But I do want to finish this here, because it is a model for one of the patterns that I made myself. So speaking of which, I have another pattern that I made that I am currently working on, that I have been working on earlier this morning and will probably finish later today. That's the paper, which is this little guy. So he's almost finished, as you can see. I just need to fill in the green on the side, and then he will be done. It's probably, I don't know, maybe another 100 stitches or so, if at all, and then he will be done. So you can also get the previews and also this little guy here in my shop. The link will be in the description below if that is something that you want to stitch. Next one that I worked on is not one of my patterns. I think that those were the only two of mine that I worked on. Oh no, I threw something down. Give me a moment. This is a hot mess, as always. And also, what's also a theme on this channel, as you may have seen or may come to notice if you stick around, I seem to have no plan what I'm doing at all. So, and yeah, also excuse the hair, it's wet. That's also a theme. I've just come here after a shower, so, and my hair takes ages to dry, and because it's getting quite long, and I hate to blow dry it. So if I were to wait until it's dry, then I will film in, I don't know, 3 years. So But yeah, the next one I worked on is this one, and it is by Stitch Sprout. So it's a little Halloween pattern, and you have seen it in the previous few Flosstube updates if you've been here before. And I am currently this far with it. So I have gotten quite a bit done on the roof, like all of the purple here and the black inside is what I have done since you saw it last time. So this will probably be something that I'll be working on this month with Halloween coming up. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Halloween. I mean, I like the concept of it, but Halloween is more like an American thing. I am in Germany. We don't have like, we don't celebrate Halloween here really. Some people do, but it's rare. So it's not something that I am very much into. Okay, now let's put this to the side. Next up, yeah, this is actually one of my own. This is one of my personal patterns that I am working on occasionally, which is this one of one of my previous D&D character, which is him, and a friend's character, which is this guy here. And this is a big one, so let's see if I can. I don't want to fully unfold it because I have not worked that much on it, and there's a lot of hanging threads. So I decided to be a little bit more organized, even more organized with this. So as you can see all of these hanging threads, which is why I don't really want to open this up fully. So what I have worked on and what I will be probably doing until I get bored of it, I've been doing the top. Like the very top row has been done before. Let's see, why do I have the paper here if I don't use it? Right. So the very top row has been done before. That's been done for a while. And what I did is I started filling in the second row, so these 3 boxes here, and this part here, and I have also filled in the missing colors in his horn up here. So that's what I've been doing, and I will continue the second row of background here in the top, this one. And then go down more like with the Royal Rose kind of method, not probably not exactly like that, but yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing with this guy, these guys. So, but with all the hanging threads and everything, it's really hard to just show the whole thing where it is now. But I will try to do it with a picture and put that in so you can actually see where it's at. And I feel like today is even more of a mess than usual, so apologies for that. So yeah, there's actually more of my own patterns that I worked on than usual, so which is a good thing, which I will touch on later a bit more. I also did work on her. Let me put, this is really thin paper. It's a cute little girl with a coffee mug. Could be Starbucks, could be homebrewed, could be whatever you want, which is also available in my shop. And let's see. This is how far I am with her. I did fill in part of her skin color in her face. So, and the pink, like these parts here, and her little cheeks. That is how far I am with this. So it's also gonna be, or supposed to be, a model stitch for my shop, because for most of my patterns, I think all but one actually, I only have the mock-up pictures on there. So I would really love to have actual stitched models for everything. For at least for everything, but the full coverage ones, because if I were seriously considering stitching all the full coverages, then that would be a project of a lifetime. But again, I'm gonna touch on that a little bit later. Let me have a sip of coffee. So next up is, oh yeah, this one. And I always say I need to grab because I am way too far behind on this. This is the Treasure Island Stitch Along by Alfor's Embroidery. This is how far I am with it. I think since you last saw it, I filled in the blue here in the top. I did some of the house down here, and this green part, a bit more on the golden thing, and I have started on Jim. Gave him the skin color of his face and part of his jacket, which actually looks strange. Like his face without the hair looks a bit creepy. So, but I'm picking this up more regularly, and it looks a little bit dark because there is a lot of light coming in through the window here. But yeah, let's hold it that way. But yeah, I need to. It's like a little bit behind me, as you can see, so if I hold things in front of the camera, then it blocks out the light a bit. So I'm still trying to figure out how to best do this, because if you've seen my last video, then you'll notice that I am in a different space again. At least that's what it looks like. I'm technically not. I'm sitting in the exact same space, I just flipped my desk around. So before my desk was standing where I'm sitting right now, and I was sitting against the wall that I am now facing. And I've just flipped it around so that I wasn't sitting between my desk and the wall, because in this house the walls carry sound way too well, and I could constantly hear the TV of our neighbors below coming through the walls, and I was sitting, my ears were basically like just this far away from the wall, and I am extremely noise sensitive, so that was bugging me. And with where I'm sitting now, it's way better. I can still hear it sometimes, but it's way better now. So, oops, things falling. I don't want things to fall. The next one I worked on is one of my oldest whips that I do not have a picture of what it's gonna look like finished, because the pattern is no longer available. I got it on Etsy, and I think the whole shop is no longer there. It's gonna be a snake sitting on a branch. So, but you can't really see it yet because I've gone all over the place with this. And what I did on it since the last time that I've been showing it is a little bit of the green here, the black, and everything that going, because I wanted to make sure that the piece of fabric was actually big enough for it. So I moved all the way to the edge of the pattern here. It is, it seems, so that's good. And I will keep working on this one. So that is the snake. I don't know if it has a name or anything, so that I can't really check. And the pattern itself doesn't have a cover picture. So I'm basically, I know what it looks like, but without showing you the actual pattern, which we don't do, I can't show you what it's supposed to look like. Then I did a tiny bit of work on this one. Not too much, because I have a slight issue with it that made me stop at a point. I will pick it back up, but I can show you what I mean in a moment. So this is how far I am with it. I have done a bit on the sky. I think I only showed it once during Mania when I actually started it, and that was also the only time that I actually worked on it. So I did a bit more in the sky and worked a little bit down the roof here. So what my issue is with this, and I'm gonna put this right next to each other and see if you can actually see it. Do you see the sky here, like this part? And this part here? That this is, let me try to get it closer. There's a different color in here. Can you see that? This is a lighter blue and a dark blue. So it's two different shades. And in the actual stitch here, these are two different shades of blue, but you can barely see it. And it doesn't even pick up on camera, but even in person, you can hardly see it. And I think you can see it better here because this part here, is supposed to be the lighter blue. And the it is actually two different flosses, so two different floss numbers. Let me grab them real quick. And obviously I don't know if that is just due to the fact that I let me see which ones those are real quick. I think it was this one and this one, yes. So that, just give me a moment. 3755. And I just have to unwind my floss cards so that I can see the numbers. So the colors that it is using are these two shades of blue are. How do I best do this? So are 799 and 3755. So as you can see, if I hold them next to each other, they are basically the same. Can you see this? And from what the picture looked, one of them should be way lighter, which it really is not, right? So what I'm wondering is, and maybe one of you can help me. So the numbers are 799 and 3755. So yeah, obviously I'm aware of dialots and such, but I am using CXC instead of DMC. And I am wondering if that may be the issue with it, because while CXC generally uses the same shades as DMC, they are almost identical in most cases, not always. So to those of you who have like a whole set of DMC or Stitch with DMC, if you have those colors, maybe you can do me a favor and check for me if they are really that identical in the original DMC version, or if that's just an issue that I have because I'm using CXC and I am thinking if I'm just going to manually substitute these and like pick a different shade for the lighter blue than the one it calls for, because I really haven't done that much with that color. It was just like one strand that I worked in, so I can easily just frog it out and do it again with another color. Because the fact that they look exactly the same and the shading gets completely lost is bugging me. So that is the thing with this one. And yeah, I am aware, some of you might say, yeah, that's what you get for using off-brand floss, and I get that. So this is something that I would really like to know. Okay, next one. Next one I worked on is also a pattern that I charted myself, which I will have to put a picture up here because I have not printed out the cover picture. I am stitching this with my friend Dobby from Covered in Floss. We chose this one out of a few in a set that I originally charted, and this is how far I am with it. I think it's about 3% or so, and yeah, I will say more about this in the other part of this video, but for update, that's where it is at. Next, I think I have 2 more that I worked on. I'm gonna show you. The next one that I worked on, and I had not worked on this in quite a while, is this one. It's called The Manor, and it is from Max's Patterns on eBay. On Etsy, not eBay, obviously. And this is a confetti heavy mess, but I like it. I am not very far with it, however. So, and when I started it in the bottom corner. So you will get a bottom corner right here. And it's all the dark greens. You can't really, let me try it this way. Giving it a little bit more light. Can't really see that much. So that is how far I am, which is not really far. Just the tiny start here in the corner. And it will be a little bit more green, and then the first flowers will come in, and I'm really looking forward to see that. And then I will work my way up to the top, and then maybe continue from the top back down, because I don't know why. I think I started in the bottom because I wanted to try out. Yeah, I did try out in a few different patterns, which I preferred, like top corner start, center start, bottom starts, things like that. It was when I was still working my way and testing out things. By now I am quite sure that I like to do the most common thing and start full coverages in the top corner. So it's the top left corner, I think. But yeah, let me have a sip of coffee. In my little hobbit coffee cup. As you know, I am a huge fan of fantasy, so obviously I like Lord of the Rings, and I like the Hobbit movies. And yeah, I am, full disclosure here, I am a huge fan of Richard Armitage, so obviously I had to watch The Hobbit. Even if I hadn't been a fan of Lord of the Rings before, I would have watched it, just because of that. We all have our guilty pleasures, don't we? So the last update, or not really update, it's a new start. My one new start for this period between Flosstubes. And it is the Haunted Happenings. And let me see if I have it down here where it is from. It is a design by Kari Uziak, I hope I'm not butchering that, of Aeon Celtic Art, I think it's what it's called. And it is from the new Just CrossStitch magazine from this October, actually. No, it's not. It's from 2020. No, it's not. The other one's from sorry. It is from the new one, like from this October. I think it's the Halloween special. It says October 2023, so I suppose it's the Halloween special. And where is my paper? Here's my paper. I started it last night, and I only worked on it last night. This is how far I am. So it's actually a lot. And funny enough, with the lack of light, you can actually see the ghost. I mean, the ghost is not fully finished yet. He's missing a second arm because I ran out of that white thread right there. And I didn't thread a new one because I was going to bed. So this fabric, and that's the next thing I'm gonna get into, I dyed this. I also did that yesterday. I was like, yeah, I really want to try tea dyeing or fabric dyeing in general. So this is dyed with, let me show you the back. I chose this side that had the prettier modeling. However, this is beautiful as well, but I particularly liked the lines that it has, and which is also why I started this, because then I was looking for a pattern that would look good on it and fit on it, because these are little leftovers for my 28 count Ada from my full coverage pieces that I cut off, and I have a few of these small pieces of scraps of fabric, and I thought, like, what better than to try fabric dyeing with these little pieces. And I have no idea where these white spots came from or how they came into being, but I think they look kind of cool. Kind of looks fun, doesn't it? Like the white spots in there. And I have a second piece of these, which is this one, which I haven't decided on a pattern to put on it yet. This is the back of it, or the front, whichever. So this is what it looks like. And I think the camera is actually picking it up quite well. It is a what is this shade of purple? I'm not sure actually. It's not pink, it's more like a reddish purple. It's a more reddish purple. And I actually did this with using fruit tea. I'm not sure what kind of fruit exactly was in that tea. It was some tea that we had in the back of our cupboard for a while, and I think it was probably already a year or 2 years old. And I know tea leaves are obviously tea leaves, if they don't get moisture or anything, they last for a long time. But yeah, even like after 2 years or so, I'm usually like, I don't know if I want to still drink it. But I don't want to get into that anymore. Sometimes I have like strange thought like that. They are probably still good, but they are older. So it's like, if I want to try tea dyeing, then let's use the oldest tea that we have sitting in our cupboard and play around with that. So much for my updates. I have 2 projects that I am FFOing. So I'm going to get another sip of coffee and then I will get into that. So there are these 2 that I'm going to show you the 2 that I will no longer continue. This is one. It doesn't have too much done, so and this is like I think it's 18 or 20 count, and this is these, I think it's called opalescent, like the glittery Ada. And I really do not want to like cut it out or throw the whole thing away, because this is like a big piece of it, and I really want to use it for other things, so I'm gonna frog these out. This is a rainbow dragon pattern by Artisy. It was a free version that came with the markup RXP, so I just started it. It's not something I bought or anything, but I'm not gonna continue this. I didn't enjoy it too much, and it has like a million colors, I think 90 or so, for a pattern that's not even full coverage, and I was like, that was kind of ridiculous, to be honest. And the next one that I am not going to continue, which I actually have done a bit more on, is this one, which was also a pattern that I charted myself. And as I said before, we'll talk about this in a moment if you want to stay for that. But this is also gonna be FFO'd. I liked working on it, but I have a lot of other things that I'd rather work on. And yeah, this one, because this is also either 28 or 25 count, I will just cut this top part off and use the rest of it, maybe to play around with dyeing a little bit more. And yeah, I will probably just cut it off here and frog a few wild stitches in here. But I'm not gonna bother trying to frog all of this, because that will just... And this, I get this Ada from China, so like a piece of this usually, I think even bigger than this usually, I think, costs me €5 or so. So if I throw a little part of it, a small part of it away, then I don't have to cry about it. So I mean, I will a little, but not to a point where I'm like, yeah, I'd rather keep it and sit here for 8 hours frogging it. But yes, that is for my stitchy updates. It's all the projects that I worked on in the past 2 weeks or so, given that I didn't forget about one again. But I don't think I did this time, because I have my, let me grab it, my trusty little calendar here with my... This is as much note-taking as I can keep up with, to be honest. This is my monthly calendar where I put everything I stitch on. So that's very helpful. So because usually at some point, like when I was thinking today, I did not put in what I did Saturday and Sunday. And even a few minutes ago, like before I started filming, I had to think and try to remember, what did I work on Saturday? I don't remember. So I'm not sure. What did I work on Saturday? And that's been 2 days ago. So if I don't do this, then sometimes I remember and sometimes I have no idea what I did yesterday. So brain is a strange thing. And then with some things that I'm really interested in, and some other things that I rather forget, I have like a photographic memory of sorts, and with other things, half an hour, not even like 10 minutes after you tell me, I forgot it, and it's gone. But yeah, next thing, and it is CrossStitch related still, so as I said earlier, if you were just here for the update, then this is it. Thank you for being here and watching my progress. But if you want to stay, obviously, I'm very glad that you want to hear what I have to say. And this is a little bit difficult for me. I have made notes, so I might be reading off my screen for a bit if that, like, if things change in my talking, and if that seems strange to you, that's why. But yeah, these are in regards to my cross-stitch pattern shop, which some of you may know that I have. I have been making and charting patterns for a while. I originally started making patterns is what brought me back into cross-stitch, or making one pattern in particular, which is not even available because I have to not necessarily rechart it, but edit it so it is in a proper PDF format, because I made that way back when, at the end of 2001, in a free pattern program on the internet. So I still need to optimize that. But I made a pattern of a little artwork that I drew because somebody got me into the idea of turning it into a cross-stitch pattern. And they were like, yeah, this would be look cute stitched. And I was like, stitched? Oh, because I cross-stitched when I was a child and then never touched it again. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not make a pattern? And then I turned it into a more like pixel art kind of thing, then turned it into a pattern. And I saw that most people who make cross-stitch patterns do model stitching. And I was like, okay, so let's stitch it and see how it actually looks. And then I stitched it. That was the first finish I made, and I think I showed that in my very first Flosstube. It's like a little cactus in a pot. And that is how it started. That's how I got back into cross-stitch. That's how I started making patterns, and then I've played around a lot with those free pattern websites, and made some more small patterns, like the two that you saw earlier, like the alchemy bottle and the coffee girl, were some that I made first. Right, sorry, I need to have a drink in between because I'm a little bit. This is hard to talk about for me, so I'm a little out of breath. Excuse me for that, I hope. So yeah, that's basically how it started, and that is also what I plan on keep doing, and do more patterns like the little frog that you also saw earlier. Maybe dabble a little bit in more modern style samplers with like the more colorful and pixel art things that I find extremely cute, and that I personally also love stitching. I'm not I'm not a fan of like reproduction samplers. I mean they are beautiful in their own way, but to me they do not appeal to me. So that may change eventually as I get older or whatever, I don't know. But currently they are not for me. So I like the more modern things. I like full coverages, as you probably noticed. So that's what I will stick to. But then at some point, and this is where I'm getting at, so sorry for going off a little bit on a tangent here. At some point I also started charting full coverage images, because full coverage is what I felt drawn to and what I got passionate about. And at first I used my own art for it. And then I, as some other pattern makers, I used some royalty-free art for it, like older artworks, like vintage art and such, photographs, some that I took myself, some that I found like on royalty-free websites that I liked. And then at some point I got to the point where the issue of this tangent comes into play. The computer-generated artworks, which have been going around for quite a while now in the cross-stitch community, better known as AI art, and I put like the art in quotes here because to me personally, while they look like artworks, and I personally find a lot of them extremely stunning and beautiful, so I'm not saying they are, well, some of them are ugly and they look really cursed, and if you look closer at a few computer-generated artworks, they are crazy. But the thing is, and I do not want to go on a whole tangent of what AI art is and how it is made and why it is extremely problematic. I will put a link to a video made by a fellow cross-stitcher that you may or may not know, Darling Bluebell, in the description below, who works in the field of artificial intelligence and made a great video explaining it. And for me, personally, and this is why this is so difficult to talk about for me, and I'm being completely honest here, I should have known better than using AI art or computer-generated artworks to chart full coverage patterns from, because I myself am an artist. I draw. If you have been around, you've seen some of my pictures. I showed you one of them. Oops, no, I shook the camera. I showed you one of them before in my updates. The one with my Dungeons & Dragons character and the character of a friend, that's one that I drew myself. I have been an artist for many, many years. Art is my profession. It is how I make my money. I sell my art. I sell stationery and prints of my art. And I am one of the people as an artist who is most affected by this development of artificial intelligence generated artworks. So I'm saying this not as an how do I put it? And I have made all of these notes and I'm not even using them. So I should have taken, I should not have done this. I should have taken a clear stance from the beginning. But in all honesty, as someone who lives or tries, or more like has tried to make a living off of their art for many years now, and it has always been difficult. it is even more difficult now. I did feel pushed out of my space by as an artist, but as a creative, by artworks generated by computers in the matter of seconds. But that's not even the most important point. And as I said, I don't want to get too deep into how AI art is made and why it's problematic, but just like on a very short note, AI art is made by obviously by a computer, by a machine, which is why it's called artificial intelligence, and that machine learned to create these artworks by scraping the internet. Like they took images of Google, of Instagram, of other social media platforms where artists posted them to share them with their friends and their followers, artists who have learned and trained for many, many years to get good at what they are doing. So the people who programmed these AI generators, Midjourney being the most prevalent, I think, without the consent of these artists. They basically stole their years of hard work to teach a computer how to replicate them. And even if AI artworks are derivatory work and there is no legal stance against it yet, there are currently lawsuits in place. Like I don't think they have gotten anywhere yet, but they are still going. So there has not been a resolution yet. But ethically and morally, it is something that everyone needs to make their own, needs to form their own opinion on. And I am not here to tell you to not stitch patterns made by AI art, made from AI art. I am not here to judge you. I personally still have a few pattern whips made with AI art that I will not, that I will continue stitching until they are done. But from this point on, I will not purchase any more patterns made by AI. I may pick up free ones, but I will think about it very thoroughly before I do that. And obviously it's hard, as I said, they are beautiful sometimes, and it's really hard to stay away from something that you are drawn to, even if you know it's not right and you shouldn't do it. And I mean, that's my personal opinion. Maybe you have a different opinion, and that is okay. I am not here to judge you for that. If you want to continue stitching and buying patterns made with AI art, you can do that. That is your personal choice. The only thing that I would love for everyone to do is to at least put a little bit of time into educating yourself about it, and really forming your own opinion. At least be, I guess what I'm saying is, at least be educated or informed about the fact that this controversy exists, whatever you personally want to make of it. So that being said, I have removed all charts, all full coverage patterns from my shop that I have charted. Not all of them were made from AI art. Some of them, as I said, were also like vintage artworks that are completely fine to use for making patterns out of. But I've basically purged my shop from everything that I have not made 100% myself, from drawing the art to charting the pattern out of the art, or in when it comes to smaller patterns, designed the pattern myself and everything. So it is pretty empty right now. There are a few things in there, and I will make more, but all that is left in there now is 100% my own. And to me, that was a step that I had to take. I have, like, full disclosure, because I like being honest, and I'm not saying this as an excuse, but as I said a bit ago, I have felt that I had been pushed out of, like, my space as an artist by AI, mainly for these two reasons, and seeing, especially on Etsy, that more and more people are charting AI art into patterns and flooding sites, especially Etsy, with those. And I'm not saying don't go to Etsy or buy there anymore. By all means, keep buying from Etsy. There are a lot of very, very good, genuine, talented people there that make patterns. So please continue supporting them, and continue buying on Etsy. It's just something that I noticed, and that, how do you best put it? I kind of got swept up by the current, I suppose. And for someone like me who, and again, this is not an excuse, who has been living in survival mode for many decades now, for almost as long as I have lived, basically ever since I moved out of my parents' house, that will lead you to make desperate choices. So, like, imagine someone waving, like, a bunch of money in your face and say, yeah, you can solve all of your problems if you do this one thing that is not illegal, but maybe a little bit morally questionable. Will you do it, or will you not? So, and unfortunately I did it for a short time, but still, that is something I will have to live with. I have not felt good about it. I have not felt like advertising those patterns, and that alone should have told me that it was not the right choice to make. And I think the final push to purge all of those was yesterday, when I watched my friend Dobby's Flosstube video, where she where she talked about the dragon pattern that we are stitching together, and it was just like the point where she said, yeah, Sen made this. That completely threw me off for a moment, and made me feel really uncomfortable. Because, yes, obviously I made it, as in I made the pattern, but I made the pattern out of an artwork that was created by a machine, which learned to create this artwork by stealing art from countless artists like myself, some of them just as desperate to make ends meet. And that made me really, really uncomfortable. And it is a totally different feeling than it was when a while ago I made the pattern of her first D&D character for her, which was a pattern that I actually drew by hand and then charted into a pattern. because that is something that I made, that I and yes, obviously charting patterns is also work. It's not like you press a button and it's done. You need to check if it looks good and adjust and whatever. But that is something that I made, that I put like a lot of hours into, and that is unique for me and for her, and that nobody else can do exactly the way that I did it. And that's not the case with AI generated art, especially since AI generated art cannot be copyrighted. So if I or you find an image created by AI somewhere, even for the people who sell AI art, technically you do not have to buy them. You can just copy them and use them, because there is no copyright on art that is not made by humans. But that is a totally different matter entirely. So yeah, long tangent. Short TLDR. Basically, I will no longer be making or selling patterns, neither full coverages nor smaller patterns that are not 100% my own work from the first pixel on paper or pixel on the screen to the finished pattern. I would obviously, like, as an artist and someone who I feel can actually call myself an artist, and that is also my personal opinion, that people who make AI art, and I mean not artists that use AI as a tool, as in to generate ideas and then work from there, but as people who go to Midjourney or any other AI generator, type in a phrase like, give me a picture of a dragon, then get a picture of a dragon and sell that as their own art. And I even have seen people who say, yeah, I drew this per hand, while the art was definitely made by AI, and there are ways to spot those still. They have a very distinct style. Not style, because there are a lot of styles that are done by AI now, but and so I get that it is very hard to spot for laymen. If you don't have a trained eye for it, it is very, very hard for you to spot which is AI and which isn't. Sometimes it is even for me or other fellow artists who have worked in the field of art for many, many years, and to spot it. So please don't feel like, if you share my opinion in that you shouldn't stitch AI patterns, or please don't feel bad if you accidentally buy a pattern made by AI, because it looks like something made by a real, genuine human artist, because it is getting harder and harder to spot it, because these pictures are getting getting better and better as the technology develops. So please don't feel bad about yourself. It's getting hard for even professional artists to spot them. So as I said, even if you don't like, but as I said earlier, even if you don't care, even if you say, yeah, I don't want to really get involved in this discussion or this topic at all, I just want to stitch pretty pictures, then, as I said, I will not judge you. I will not be angry with you or anything. You do you. This is just my personal stance. And obviously I would love if you rather supported real, genuine human artists. And I'm not saying necessarily me. Obviously, I would be happy if you also like the patterns that I made. And yeah, that being said, that's as much as I want to say on this topic here, because the video is already an hour, and otherwise it might easily become another hour, because I actually have a lot of things to say about this topic. But if you want a clear and concise explanation about AI art, AI art in general, AI art and cross-stitch, go to my description and go watch the video made by darling Bluebell, who is a professional in the field of AI in general. Because I can really just put my views and my involvement as an artist, and not the technical know-how. I do not have that. I just know the basics about that. But yeah, that being said, that is my my stance on that. I do feel bad that I have not taken this the stance from the beginning, and or more like I've had it, but I haven't been steadfast in acting on it. And to those that share these views, I can only apologize, and I hope that that this is not. And now I lost my train of thought. But yeah, that's I best put a point here. But that being said, I would love for you to check out what is left in my shop, or keep following to see what else I come up with in the future. That is genuinely original. I will chart a few more of my artworks into full coverage patterns. I know that they are not the kind of artworks that you usually see in cross-stitch. They are more like niche, and maybe they are not your cup of tea, which is totally fine. But maybe they are exactly what you have been missing in cross-stitch patterns up until now. So who knows? That is for you to decide. But there will be as vast a variety of different things to choose from in the future, as I am a multi-passionate artist. Because my art passion ranges from landscape painting to cute animals like the frog that you've seen, to very detailed and elaborate drawings of mainly comic style, or more like this mix between semi-realism, comic and manga style characters, mainly male characters. For whatever reason, I prefer those. So yeah, whatever floats your boat, I suppose. Maybe you'll find something that you like. If you do, and if you want to support me, I am thinking about giving away a few of these patterns for free, or like more or less for free. I am thinking about giving out some patterns without you having to buy them. If there's one that you really like to stitch, for like the trade-off, like under the condition that you would be willing to advertise for me a little bit. Like, as in, if you have a Flosstube or an Instagram account where you post regular stitchy updates, just to get the word out that, hey, there is like a fairly new cross-stitch designer, and they make these and these patterns that I really like. This is what I'm stitching. You have to obviously say that you got it for free. Post a link, tell people to like basically a shout out for in return of getting a free pattern. So, and then post regular updates as you're working on it, because obviously that would only apply if that's something that you actually want to stitch, which I think that would be quite beneficial for both of us, as I would get a bit word of mouth, and you would get a free pattern to stitch. So if that's something that you are interested in, let me know. Drop me a comment, and then we can exchange messages and see if see how we can do words. How we're gonna go about that. And I'm not saying it can just be one of you. If there's like 5 or 10 of you who are interested, just keep it to one pattern per person. So since these are digital downloads, I do not do printed patterns that yet. I may in the future, who knows. So it is of no additional cost to me to send you a pattern, which is why I can do this. So yeah, if that's something that you would like to do, then let me know and we can get into that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This video's been going on long enough. Thank you if you've stuck around until now and listened to my ramblings about my own failings and my issues with this whole mess of a thing that is AI art. If you want to know more, about my opinion, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability. But yes, that's it for now. Thank you for being here. I hope I will see you again next time with more updates and hopefully less negative discussions. And yeah, have a great time. Have a great week or weeks. I'll probably be back in about 2 weeks. And yeah, take care of yourself. And hopefully see you again next time. Bye bye.